one of the most fascinating things, this is the most fascinating part of that podcast that I learned, which was really interesting, which will lead into the other segments of this podcast that were kind of related, were he was explaining how it's really good to, when you recognize you're in the flow state, that's when you stop. Like when you get the feeling like, oh, wow, I'm doing really good. I'm coming up with great ideas. I'm connecting these ideas. I'm doing really well. I'm creating great stuff. That's when you should stop. And at first thought, it sounds very counterintuitive because normally you feel like, oh, I want to ride this wave. I want to continue with this. But the reason for this was, he was explaining, was the reason you're having this excitement or recognizing you're in the flow state is because you're at one of the later stages of the flow state, which is when you get all these chemicals to your brain. I think they were like norepinephrine and endorphins. And by those chemicals coming to your brain and you feeling that excitement, that's a sign that you're at the end of the flow state and you only have like 5 to 10 minutes or something like that left. So instead of trying to squeeze out those last 5-10 minutes, stop there, stop kind of on a good note. And what he was explaining is that next time you come back to sit down to write or create whatever you're doing, you'll have a much more positive attitude towards what you're about to do. You'll be excited because you remember what you just did, and so you just be more motivated. And the term he used that I really liked was called stacking motivation. So whenever you do these things, a lot of times you want to motivate yourself to do these things, because whenever you're in a good state of mind and you're motivated to do something, you want to go crush it. And for example, like if you haven't, just like how when I was burnt out from making my rap, and then when I came back and I gave myself some relief and I started listening to these podcasts, it made me want to go do podcasts and share information, things like that. It's like, that's motivation. So I use that as motivation to make me do something. Similar to that is like, if you just wrote something really good and you stop, the next time you come back, you want to add to it and you're really excited to get started again. And then on top of it, you're stacking motivation instead of trying to just get motivation here, get it there. You're always stacking motivation. So you always have like a lot of energy to use towards whatever you're doing, if that makes sense.